Hello there and welcome to our news program coming to you live on our channel, All 24 News from Algiers. Let's check out today's headlines. Algeria and Uganda signed cooperation and partnership agreements, and President Tebboune affirms Algeria's keenness to develop its African depth as a strategic direction. Also coming up, the European Union High Representative says the bloc is ready to finance new investments in the energy infrastructure in Algeria. Zionist soldiers shoot dead 3 Palestinians and injured 2 others by their bullets in the occupied northern West Bank near Nablus, also ahead in our news. And the Ukrainian army announces its readiness to launch a counterattack in Bakhmut, and Turkey expects to renew grain export deal from Black Sea ports. Hello again and welcome to the details. First off in our news, Algerian President Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, accompanied by his Ugandan counterpart Yoweri Museveni, supervised the signing of a ceremony of 2 agreements and 5 memoranda of understanding in several sectors of endeavor. The cooperation agreements cover the fields of energy, tourism, trade, agriculture, health, higher education, and scientific research. Earlier in the day, the Algerian president had held bilateral talks with his Ugandan counterpart, after which they chaired extensive talks that included members of the delegations of the 2 countries. In a statement after the reception ceremony and the signing of the agreements, President of the Republic Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune affirmed that Algeria is keen to develop its relations with Uganda and its African depth as a strategic direction, stressing Algeria's readiness to share its experiences and expertise, especially in the field of energy. Let's listen.
الجزائر حريصة على تطوير علاقاتها مع جمهورية أوغندا ومع عمقها الإفريقي، وتعتبر ذلك توجها استراتيجيا. إن زيارتكم فخامة الرئيس فرصة للعمل سويا على الرقي بعلاقاتنا الثنائية من خلال استغلال الإمكانيات المتاحة في بلدينا. وأود أن أؤكد في هذه السانحة استعدادنا لتقاسم التجارب والخبرات في مجالات الطاقة والفلاحة والصناعات الغذائية والتعليم العالي والبحث العلمي.
In the same context, President Tebboune stressed the importance of joint cooperation, especially through the Joint Committee and the Algerian-Uganda Business Council, revealing the determination of more than 150 Algerian economic operators to discuss investment opportunities in Uganda as part of an upcoming visit to the African country soon.
أود كذلك الإشارة إلى الأهمية التي نوليها لاجتماع الدورة الثانية للجنة المشتركة التي ستمكننا من إثراء الإطار القانوني للتعاون، ونأمل أن تتم برمجة الاجتماع قريبا، وأن نعمل على تفعيل مجلس الأعمال الجزائري الأوغندي. وفي هذا الأساس كما التزمت مع شقيقي الرئيس موسفيني أن من بعد شهر رمضان المكرم ستنتقل إلى أوغندا مجموعة من رجال أعمال 150 رجل عمل يذهبون إلى أوغندا للتباحث مع زملائهم عن إمكانيات التبادل والاستثمار.
The Algerian head of state noted that the consultation between Algeria and Uganda to coordinate positions regionally and internationally is satisfactory, expressing absolute support for Uganda in its preparation to host the 19th summit of the Movement of Non-Aligned Countries and praising Kampala's support for Algeria's initiative to call for hosting a mini-meeting in Algiers next summer prior to the summit.
إن التشاور بين بلدينا الشقيقين لتنسيق المواقف في المناسبات الإقليمية والدولية يدعو إلى الارتياح وإلى مواصلة مساعينا المشتركة، وفي هذا السياق نعبر عن دعمنا المطلق لأوغندا في التحضير للقمة 19 لدول عدم الانحياز التي ستحضنها كامبالا نهاية العام، وكذلك مجموعة 77 زائد الصين. وفي هذا الإطار أنوه بمساندتكم لمبادرة الجزائر في الدعوة إلى احتضان اجتماع مصغر قبيل قمة كامبالا لدول عدم الانحياز ببلدنا في الصيف المقبل إن شاء الله.
Algerian president expressed appreciation for Uganda's consistent position in advocating just causes, especially Western Saharan and Palestinian ones. President Tebboune also called for intensifying efforts with African leaders to mobilize greater political and material support for the Palestinian and Sahrawi peoples.
فخامة الرئيس، أعرب في هذا المقام عن تقديري للموقف الثابت لجمهورية أوغندا في مناصرة مسار تصفية الاستعمار في الصحراء الغربية والدفاع عن حق الشعب الفلسطيني في إقامة دولته المستقلة. وأؤكد بأنه يتعين علينا مع القادة الأفارقة مضاعفة الجهود جماعية لحشد المزيد من الدعم السياسي والمادي للشعبين الصحراوي والفلسطيني، ودعوة المجتمع الدولي ليتحمل مسؤوليته التاريخية وتمكينهما من تقرير المصير والاستقلال.
The Algerian leader noted Algeria's key role in promoting peace and stability in the Sahel region, as well as Algeria's effort to the promotion of a lasting settlement of the crisis in Mali, based on the Peace and Reconciliation Agreement signed in 2015. President Tebboune also commended Uganda's contribution to mediation to the crisis in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
وفي ظل ما نعيشه من تداعيات الأزمات المتفاخمة في العالم عن قارتنا التي تعاني العديد من دولها أوضاعا اقتصاديا هشة ونزاعات داخلية، يجدر التذكير بالدور الذي نقوم به لتعزيز السلام والاستقرار خاصة في منطقة الساحل. في الجزائر التي تترأس لجنة متابعة اتفاق السلام والمصالحة الوطنية في مالي، تعتبر الاتفاق الموقع عام 2015 إطاراً مناسباً لتسوية دائمة للأزمة في هذا البلد الشقيق. واسمحوا لي في سياق الحديث عن المساعي التي نبذلها سوياً بحثاً عن الحلول السلمية للأزمات في قارتنا، أن أشيد بمساهمة بلدكم الشقيق في الوساطة من أجل تطويق الأزمة المتعددة الجوانب في المناطق الشرقية من جمهورية كونغو الديمقراطية، متمنيا لكم التوفيق وأنتم تواصلون مجهوداتكم لأجل إيجاد حل سلمي لهذا الصراع الذي تحول إلى أزمة إنسانية حقيقية.
For his part, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni hailed Algeria's initiative to achieve African integration by launching pioneering facilities to link Africa's north to its west.
The discussion between His Excellency and myself focused on the issue of peace in Africa. After peace, then you need infrastructure. And as you heard, Algeria has already moved on that front by building communication linkages through the Sahara to West Africa. That's a very positive contribution.
The Ugandan president also expressed hope that Algerian investment would be executed in his country's hydrocarbon sector.
Products from Algeria, the ones of petroleum and petrochemicals, and we are looking at Algeria investing in our refinery. As His Excellency mentioned in his statement, we have discovered some good quantities of petroleum, and we want to build an inland refinery.
To a different story now. A memorandum of understanding was signed in Algiers on Sunday between the Wali or Governor of Algiers, Mohammed Abdel Noor Rabhi, and the Minister of the Damascus City Government, Head of the Department of International Relations and Foreign Economy, Sergei Cheremin. The initiative falls within the framework of strengthening the bonds of friendship, bilateral and decentralized cooperation between Algeria and Russia, which includes the sectors of digitization and innovation, such as environmental protection and waste management, urban transport, traffic, and building restoration. The High Representative for Foreign Affairs of the European Union, Josep Borrell, expressed the bloc's willingness to finance the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline project as part of the European plan to finance new infrastructure projects to achieve energy transformation in the long term by focusing on renewable energy and hydrogen. Here's Zahra Fajani.
The European Union is seeking energy security in the continent. For this reason, it considers Algeria as an important energy exporter due to its strength and value in securing energy supplies. The EU announces funding the infrastructure projects in Algeria, foremost of which is the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline, which will transport up to 30 billion cubic meters a year of supplies to Europe.
Algeria is an important energy partner of the European Union. As a reliable supply of natural gas, it plays a vital role in securing European energy supplies at a moment we consider decisive. We wish to strengthen and deepen this mutual beneficial partnership by working together to face the dual challenge of energy security and the sustainability of energy resources. We are ready to intensify European-Algerian cooperation in order to facilitate investments in this strategic field.
In order to achieve common goals in line with the interests of Algeria and the European Union, the latter seeks to expand its energy investments in Algeria by launching financial and technological support for the program of renewable energies and green hydrogen investments through a long-term vision that guarantees sustainable energy security for Europe.
We want to put our partnership with Algeria in a long-term perspective. European investments in new infrastructure projects must serve the goal of the energy transition, because the European Union wants to achieve carbon neutrality, as agreed at the Paris conference. The EU's financial support focuses on renewable energy, energy efficiency, and hydrogen. Algeria has excellent potential in these areas, which are still underexploited. Europe is ready to launch technological and financial assistance to support its development in Algeria.
Algeria provides varied energy sources, from gas to renewable energies and green hydrogen. As a result, it remains a safe and secure supplier of blue fuel and an important strategic partner for the European Union, according to its High Representative.
In a different development, the representative of the Polisario Front at the United Nations, Sidi Mohamed Amar, confirmed that the letter recently sent by the Moroccan occupation's representative to the UN is another example of the Moroccan regime's obsession with fabrication, slander, and distortion of facts regarding the Moroccan regime's desperate attempt to distort the legitimate struggle of the Sahrawi people. The Sahrawi diplomat stressed that Morocco's continuation of its illegal military occupation of parts of the Sahrawi Republic's territory and its persistence in its policy of expansion, as well as its endeavor to seek protection from external parties, is the real danger that threatens the security and stability of the entire region. In an interview with our channel, the French and human rights activist Claude Mangin Asfari revealed that French justice had appointed a judge to look into the case of the Moroccan regime spying on thousands of French people using the Pegasus spyware. Here's Salman Asib with more.
The White Probe on the largest technological intelligence operation in the world, led by the Moroccan Makhzen regime, stirred a lot of controversy and became the center of attention for media outlets such as the Belgian newspaper Le Soir or French radio. All the reports on the matter agree on the fact that it's the biggest spying operation in the world, which was followed by another disgraceful corruption scandal in the European institutions in order to legitimize Morocco's occupation of Western Sahara, plunder its wealth, and conclude illegal trade agreements. For her part, and in an exclusive interview with AL24 News International channel, the French human rights activist Claude Mongin, wife of Naama Asfari, a Sahrawi detainee by the Moroccan occupier, made a call to support the Sahrawi people and detainees who are rotting in Moroccan prisons for years. Claude Mongin Asfari revealed further that the French justice had appointed a judge to hear the case of the Moroccan regime spying on thousands of French people.
Mr.
Bouissou was under Pegasus spyware surveillance with the use of my phone, and Mr. Obi Bouchraya, the ex-representative of the Polisario Front in France as well. We all made a complaint in front of the French authorities with the presence of Rosa Moussaoui, who is a journalist in charge with humanitarian cases. We were summoned at the International Digital Operations Agency, where all our phones have been investigated, where we also made a deposition of what happened to us. Recently, before going to Tindouf, I had the chance to meet with my lawyer in order to discuss about updates regarding my case. He said that a judge has been appointed to be in charge with Pegasus case named Tona. He is quite popular. He's associated with National Financial Prosecutor's Office and also in charge with corruption cases.
Indeed, the Zionist Pegasus application and the Makhzen's involvement in espionage cases, which affected thousands of activists and journalists from many countries, is now resurfacing to hurt Rabat and add to its numerous scandals, especially after the Margate outrage, which jeopardized democracy in Europe. What decision the French judiciary will take in its regard, time shall tell.
The General Secretary of the International Trade Union Confederation, Luca Vincentini, has been dismissed from his post in connection with the investigation into the Margate case. The federation, which represents unions from 168 countries and organizations around the world, confirmed that Vincentini was arrested as part of a Belgian investigation into suspicions of corruption of members of the European Parliament.
The events of the past few months have considerably damaged the reputation of the International Trade Union Confederation. Important lessons have been learned. We are determined to protect it from any form of suspicion of influence.
Mauritanian security forces eliminated 3 of the 4 terrorists who escaped from the central prison in the capital Nouakchott last week after an exchange of fire with the security forces, while the 4th was arrested. Therefore, Ministries of Defense and Interior specified in a joint statement that 3 terrorists out of the 4 fugitives were killed after a shooting during a search operation carried out by the army and counter-terrorism forces. The same statement added that an officer was killed during the operation. The initiative floated by UN envoy Abdoulaye Bathily to break political stalemate in Libya seems to have received wide positive internal reactions. The UN initiative won support from the head of the Tripoli-based unity government, Abdulhamid Dbeiba, and chairman of Libya's Presidential Council, Mohammed Al-Manfi. Let's find out more with Islam Sid.
Successive interim arrangement.
Bathyli's new initiative, which aims at holding elections in Libya this year, was met with positive internal reactions. Several parties hailed the new step taken on Twitter. For instance, the president of the Libyan Presidential Council, Mohammed Al-Manfi, announced the council's support for the UN envoy efforts. He also underlined that he will keep continuous coordination with everyone to meet their requirements to move on to the next phase.
We renew our full and continuous support to Mr. Batili since his candidacy for his difficult mission in Libya, and we value his sincere efforts to achieve parliamentary and presidential elections before the end of 2023 and the Libyan ownership.
For his part, the head of the Libyan National Unity Government, Abdulhamid Dabeiba, supported Batili's efforts and praised the United Nations' response to his government's demand to increase coordination and support for holding the elections.
Today, we renew our support to Mr. Batili's efforts, and we hail the response of the United Nations to our request to raise the level of coordination and support provided in the process of preparation for the elections. We call on Libyans to demonstrate a strong will to end the transitional phase with fair and impartial elections.
Another tweet by the Supreme Council of the State's President, Khalid al-Mishri, emphasized the political commitment of the Council to hold elections with electoral laws.
We have the strong political will to hold presidential and parliamentary elections with electoral laws that take into account the laws governing political action, nationality, the organization of the armed forces, and the commitments of Geneva Forum, in which parties, youth, and women participate and bring together all components of Libyan society before the end of this year.
However, the House of the Representatives did not vote. It did not reply through its official website nor pages on social media platforms, and did not even engage with the initiative of the UN envoy, who held it responsible for stalling the electoral process. This comes at a time when the high-level panel previously announced by Batili has established a precise timeline and adopted a binding legal and time frame for holding elections no later than the end of this year.
3 Palestinians were shot dead after Zionist occupation forces opened fire on a vehicle carrying 4 young men near the Sora military checkpoint southwest of Nablus. The 4th young man was arrested. The Palestinian factions condemned these series of Zionist crimes in various Palestinian towns, blaming the occupation for its aggression.
The occupation erects death barriers at the entrances to Palestinian towns to kill citizens in cold blood under false pretexts and allegations to justify daily field executions. The repetition of executions in the same way and at the occupation military checkpoints proves the bloody mentality of the occupation forces and that they have explicit instructions for killing under the cover and approval of the Israeli policy.
Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian said on Sunday that Tehran and Washington had reached an agreement to exchange prisoners, adding that he hoped the exchange would take place soon. Abdollahian said in a statement that the prisoner exchange process depends on the extent of the United States' response to that, stressing that his country is ready while the American side is currently working on final technical coordination. To the Russia-Ukraine file now, a top Ukrainian commander said on Sunday that the Ukrainian military forces' ongoing defense of Bakhmut in the face of Moscow is necessary to gain time for organizing a counteroffensive in the coming few days. Here's Sofyan Kenturi with more.
As Russian forces gain ground in the eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut, Kiev seems to be preparing for a counteroffensive in the coming few days. Ukrainian forces are doing their best to continue to defend Bakhmut at least to gain time before launching the promised counterattack. And here's the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky revealing some figures to lift the morals. He says Russian forces suffered more than 1,100 dead in less than a week near the eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut.
In less than a week, starting from 6 March, we managed to kill more than 1,100 enemy soldiers in the Bakhmut sector alone. Russia's irreversible loss right there near Bakhmut.
It seems that the difficulty of the situation in Bakhmut is agreed upon by both parties. In fact, Russia says the situation in Bakhmut is very tough. As for the counter-offensive plan, Ukrainian armed forces conducted trials near the Belarus border earlier on Saturday, focusing on training servicemen for offensive actions by imitating real combat conditions.
We're focusing on training our units for attack, for offensive actions.
Moscow says capturing Bakhmut would punch a hole in Ukrainian defenses and be a step towards seizing all of the Donbas industrial region, a major target. The only way to stop Russia for Ukrainians is to get more military support, something that seems unlikely according to Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba. He said Western countries aren't willing to deliver fighter jets to his nation in the near future, which will make the resistance harder for Kiev.
Well, that's all we have for today. For more, our social media platforms are always in service. Don't forget to check them out. From me and the rest of the team, thank you for keeping it on our channel. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Take care.